guys, so today's video is going to be a first impressions on the Oden's Eye Hela palette. I'm going to be doing 4 different looks for you guys. So the first shade I'm starting out with is the shade Underworld, and it's a really beautiful yellowy matte color, and I'm going to be putting that all in my crease area on both eyes. So this was the first shade that I used from the palette, and it's a beautiful golden mustardy yellow. And I was already impressed with the pigmentation of this shadow. So I'm just going to be buffing it through my crease and building up the pigment. And then I'm going to start defining the crease more, and I'm going to take the shade Moss, which is kind of like a olivey green, and I'm going to start buffing that in my defining area to make it a bit more green and like murky looking. So yeah, this was the first look that I did with this palette, and I wanted to do like a mustardy greenish, like murky look. And then for the outer corners, I wasn't sure if I was going to use the green or the brown. So I ended up going with the dark brown, and it's called Soot. And it's a really beautiful, like deepening brown shade. And you guys know how much I like these types of colors to deepen up the outer V. And I was really, really impressed with how pigmented it was. Angelica did say that this was a pretty pigmented shade, and it just built up so easily and deepened up the look really, really nicely. So this has been like pretty much my go-to color to deepen up any of the looks from this palette. So I'm just going to keep on building that up. And then once we are done deepening that up and blending it out to where I want it to be, I'm going to do the lid shade. I applied my NYX glitter glue off camera, and then the first lid shade I went into is the like limey greeny yellow shimmer called Fluorescence. And I was just so impressed on how beautiful this shade was. It's like just a gorgeous like yellowish greenish beautiful blinding shimmer, and it just looked so beautiful on the lid. So, and it was just so sparkly and pretty. So I'm just building up that color, and I was like, wow. I was like, I could not get over how pretty it was. And then I'm going to do the same on the other eye and just build up that color. I'm just going to keep on doing that and just build it up to the desired pigment that I want it to be. It was just, it's so pretty. So pretty. Okay, and then I think I was just thinking about what brow bone highlight I wanted to do, and I decided to go into the lightest shade in the Hela palette, and I wanted to use the shade Rebirth. I was just looking for my eyeshadow brush to apply it to my brow bone, and I didn't realize how pigmented it was going to be. I was like, wowza. And literally like the pigment was going everywhere when I was applying it. But I didn't think it was going to be that pigmented, but it ended up working out really nicely on my brow bone. I mean, at first I thought it was a little bit too dark for me, but then what I did is I just built it up a little bit more, and I kind of brought it down a little bit more where onto where my crease area was, because usually with my brow bone color I'll just bring it like right on my brow bone, but I kind of wanted to fill in like the space between the crease and the brow bone, so I brought it down more, and I think it looked really pretty that way. Okay, so once we are done with the eyes, I went ahead and did my face, and I used my MAC Fix Plus and my MAC Pure Radiance Primer, and then I used my Rare Beauty Foundation, and then my First Aid Beauty Bendo Avocado Concealer. Then I used my Becca Hydra Mist Powder to set my under eyes, and then I used the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Powder to set the rest of my face. And now we're going to go back into the palette and do the lower lash line and the inner corners. And the shade that I'm going to use to smudge on the lower lash line is Moss, which is the shade that I used on the top of my my top area of my lid to define the crease area. So I wanted to bring that color underneath my eyes, and it's such a pretty, like, subtle green shade. Like, it's not even that olivey tone. It's just such a pretty, like, murky green, and I thought it looked so pretty underneath the eyes. So I just wanted to make sure I built it up. And then for the inner corners, I'm taking the shade Golden Bridge, which is a really beautiful, like, murky, goldeny color, and it's really, really pretty, and it's almost like a greenish toned gold. So I wanted to use that to put on my inner corners, and it built up beautifully, and it just looked so pretty on the inner corners. I really, really liked it. So I just went ahead and did that. Okay, and then for the rest of my eyes, I went ahead and primed with my L'Oreal Voluminous Primer, and then I used my Patrick Ta mascara off camera for the top lashes, and then I used my ColourPop gel liner. It's like a green olive metallic color. It's a really pretty color. I think it's called Mildew, I believe. I'm sorry if I don't know the exact shade name. It comes in the ColourPop It's a Dream eyeliner set. Okay, guys, so this is pretty much the finished look for the first look with the Oden's Eye and Angelica Nyqvist palette. I really need to get out of here, though, because I'm meeting my friend, but holy shit, I love this look so much. It's so beautiful. These, like, chartreuse, greeny, murky greens just showed up gorgeously, and I'm obsessed. I love it so much. For the rest of my face, I used my Fenty Beauty bronzer to bronze up my skin, and then I went in with my Powerpuff Girls blush in the shade Saving the World from ColourPop, and then I used the Oden's Eye highlighting palette, and I used the gold in here, which is, well, actually I mixed both of these shades, this gold and this color here. It's a little bit hard to see them, but I used those two together. And then I just set my face with my Milk Makeup Setting Spray, and then I used the Beeper lip liner from ColourPop and the cream lip creme from the Hocus Pocus collection from ColourPop in Calming Circle. So I love this look, and I will see you guys tomorrow for the next one. Bye! Okay, guys, so now we're going to jump into look number 2, and today I really wanted to do a green look. So the first shade we're going to jump into is the shade Moss, and I'm going to be taking that all in my crease area on both sides. This is such a pretty, like, greenish, more olivey, but warmer green than the other shade that we used before. I forget which one. Anyway, I really like this color, so I'm just going to buff that out all in my crease area, and we're just going to use that. And I'm just going to keep on building it up to make sure it's the desired color and blended the way I want it to be. Okay, so now for the next shade, I'm going to take the deep green in the palette, which is called Ouroboros, and it's this beautiful, like, deep green shade, and it's like a dark emerald green, and I was just so impressed with the pigmentation of this. So I took it and used it to define my crease area, and I just love how these shadows build up. Oden's Eye's formula is just killer. So once I'm done with that, I actually decided to take that green shade and put it on my outer corners as well. And then what I'm going to do is take that gorgeous shade Venom and put that all over my lid, and you can obviously tell that I was in love with it. It's just gorgeous. Their shimmers just, like, are on another level when you apply them. Oh, I was sneezing. Sorry. But this shade was just so stunning. I absolutely loved how it looked on my lids. It's just gorgeous. I couldn't get over how pretty it is. It's just, they're so amazing on the lid. As you can see, they, like, shine so beautifully, and they're so pigmented, and I just loved these shadows together. And that was pretty much it for the eyes. And then I went ahead and applied Rebirth off cam. No, I didn't apply it yet. So now I'm going to do the brow bone, and I'm going to apply the shade Rebirth on my brow bone. And I went ahead and built up that color, and I wanted to build up the pigment a little bit more. But I really like how that color looks on the brow bone, so I wanted to use it again for this look. So I went ahead and did that, and I'm just gonna build it up. So basically this look was only about 4 shades on the upper part of my eye, and I really, really love how it turned out. It's just so beautiful. I've been loving green looks the past year. Okay, so once all that was done, I primed with my Milk Makeup Primer and my MAC Fix Plus, and then I used my Urban Decay Stay Naked foundation and concealer. And then for the setting powder, I also used the Urban Decay pressed powder, and then I used my Pat McGrath setting powder underneath my eyes. So now I'm going to go in with the inner corner highlight, and I'm going to take the shade Fluorescence, which was the shade that I used yesterday on my lid, and I'm going to use that on my inner corners. It's a really beautiful, like, yellowish greenish color, and I wanted to use that to really highlight the inner corners. And again, Oden's eye shimmers are just beautiful on the inner corners as well. They really, really shine beautifully. So I just wanted to make sure I built it up to where I wanted it to. And then I wanted to take the shade Moss and smudge it on my lower lash line, which is the same shade that I used in my crease area. And we're going to take that and put it on my lower lash line. And that is pretty much it for the eye look. I'm just going to keep on buffing it out for you guys. It's a really beautiful, like, olivey green color. And then I'm going to take my liner, and then I'm just going to take the same green shade, I think. Was I going to take the same green shade? Maybe I'm looking for a different liner. I think that's what I'm doing. I'm taking black, actually. I thought I was going to take green. I'm taking the ColourPop gel liner in the shade Swerve, and I really wanted it to be just a lot more depth on the waterline, so I went ahead and went in with the black. And this is the final look, and I will go over my face details in a minute. Okay, so hey guys, so sorry I had to rush to work. I pretty much took my lip off because it's late, and I just wanted to tell you guys what I used on my face for the rest of my look. It's pretty much worn off at this point, but that highlight is still popping. So for my mascara, I used the the Urban Decay Lash Freak for my mascara, and then I used my Maybelline Lash Discovery mascara on my lower lashes. And then for my bronzer, I just used the Fenty Beauty bronzer in the shade Into Sun. And then for my blush, I used the Powerpuff Girls blush in the shade Saving the World for that. And then for my highlighter, I used the Give Me Glow Cosmetics highlighter in the shade Halo, which is one of my all-time favorite highlights. And Give Me Glow is one of my all-time favorite formulas. They're just so intense and beautiful. But yeah, that's pretty much what I did for the rest of the look. I don't remember if I showed the lippy that I used. Hold on. Okay, and then for the lip liner, I don't know why I can't find that shade right now, but I used the ColourPop lip liner in the shade Minuteman. And then for my lipstick, I used a new lipstick to me, which is the Oden's Eye liquid lipstick in the shade M202 Apricot Girl, and I used that for my lippy. It was so pretty when I used it, but I had to take it off because I was wearing it for like 10 plus hours, and my lips didn't start to get dry until like the last hour or two. Honestly, this was pretty comfortable to wear on the lips most of the day. So I really, really liked it, and I thought it was a really pretty lippy with this look. So yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow for look number 3. But I love how this look turned out. It was so pretty, and I love the greens in this palette. It's just beautiful. All right, bye. Okay, guys, so it's time for look number 3 with the Oden's Eye Hela Palette. So the first shade I'm going to go into is the shade Wolf. So this is going to be a much more cooler tone look than the last two looks that I did. I was really dying to dip into some of the cooler tone shades in the palette, so I'm going to take the shade Wolf first, and I'm going to buff that all in my crease area, and I'm going to use that all over my crease on both eyes, and I'm just going to buff that out and blend it out to the color that I want it to be, make sure that it's where I want it to be. And then the next shade I'm going to use to define my crease area is the shade Decay, and it's a really beautiful, like, cool toned grayish brown shade. It's beautiful, and I'm going to use that to define the crease area. And of course I was super impressed with the pigmentation, so I'm just going to use that and just build it up. And I was like, wow, I was just so impressed. Their mats just layer beautifully, and they're just so easy to apply, and they just look so stunning on the eyes. Okay, and then to define and to put on my outer corners to add some depth and dimension, I'm going to take that brown shade called Soot and use that all on my outer corners. And it's a beautiful chocolatey brown. You guys know how much I love these kind of shades to deepen up any look. I'm so glad that this shade is in the palette. Okay, and then for the lid shade, I was dying to dip into one of the duochromes in the palette, so I'm taking the shade River, which is a beautiful, like, silvery, bluish metallic, and I was just so impressed with how pretty it is. And I just, like, as you layer it up more, it really just changes in the dimension on your lids. Like, again, swatching these really just don't do them justice. They really just completely transform on your lids, and it's just so beautiful. And do you see how wet and metallic looking that looks? It's just phenomenal. It's just gorgeous. I absolutely loved this shade, and I just love how this look turned out. I got a lot of compliments on this look when I posted it on Facebook because I made it my profile picture. I was just so obsessed with how the look turned out. Okay, and then I did not show what I used because I think I'm going to show you guys that later after work. So I took that shade Decay and I put that on my lower lash line because I really wanted to use that cool toned brown on my lower lash line. And again, I will go over the face details later of what I used on my face. I just think I didn't have time at the time because I was getting ready for work. And then for the inner corners, I'm going to take the multi-chrome in the palette, which is called Double Sided. And I'm going to take that to apply to my inner corners. And I wasn't sure about this shade in the first, to begin with, because I thought it was going to be too warm toned for this, but it turned out really beautiful. It's like a peachy white shifty color, and it's gorgeous. And then I didn't tell you guys off camera, I used Firefly and Vanilla Bean from Makeup Geek to highlight my brow bone because I didn't want that same, like, greenish color again. I wanted just a matte, like, whitish ivory shade. And I just thought it was beautiful. And then I think I'm doing my liner. I'm just looking for which liner I want to use. So for my liner, I'm going to use the Marc Jacobs gel liner in the shade Overnight. And I'm just going to apply that on my waterline. And then that is pretty much it for the majority of the eye look. And then I will go into what I used on the rest of my face in just a minute. So I'm just going to finish applying my eyeliner. Okay, and then this is the final look for this look. I just wanted to blot the lips a little bit, and I really, really love how this look turned out. I thought it was beautiful. Okay, so hey guys, so I wanted to tell you guys what was on the rest of my face. I just couldn't tell you guys at the time because I had to get to work. So for the rest of my face, for mascara, I used my Pat McGrath. Did I use the Pat McGrath? Yes, I did. I used the Pat McGrath Labs Fetish Eyes Mascara. And then for the eyeliner, I think I already showed you guys that. And then for the bronzer, I used the Fenty Beauty bronzer in the shade Into Sun again. And then for blush, I used a MAC blush from my Z palette of MAC blushes, and I used the shade Harmony. This is like my favorite cool tone blush. Like, I don't really own any other blush in that shade, and that's always like my go-to blush to use, like a cool tone blush if I need one. And then for my highlight, I used the Jaclyn Hill highlighter, loose highlighter in the shade Extra, and it's just so beautiful. And then for my lips, I had my lippy on earlier. I used the MAC matte lipstick in the shade Stone. And then for the liner, I used the ColourPop lippy pencil in the shade Cool BFF. And it's a really good cool tone lip liner to go with that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a fourth look in this video. I have to see how long these clips are. If not, then I'll just film an outro tomorrow. An intro and an outro for these looks. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do 4 looks or 3 looks. So I'll either see you tomorrow for another look, or I will just end it tomorrow. So bye. Okay guys, so it's time for the final look in this video, and I'm going to be doing a pink look today. I really was dying to play with the pinks in this palette, so of course I had to do a pink look. So the first shade that I'm using is the shade Hela, which is obviously the name of the palette, and I'm going to buff that all in my crease area. It's like a beautiful, like, ice cream pink color, and you guys know I love these kind of shades. You guys know I love doing pink looks in general. So I'm just going to take that and buff that in my crease area. I was going to meet my best girlfriend, so I wanted to do like a feminine look. So I went ahead and buffed that out. And then for my defining shade, I'm going to use the hot pink in the palette, which is called Goddess. I just wanted to take my crease shade a little bit higher. And then I'm going to take the shade Goddess and use that as my defining shade. It wasn't really building up as much as I wanted it to when I first started, so I took a little bit more and then it built up pretty quickly. And it's a really pretty, it's not like too much of like an overwhelming, like super hot pink. It's a very like buildable pink, and it's just so pretty. So I just used that to define my crease area. And these are really like the only like true pink shades in the palette. And then for my outer corners, I used the shade Soot again. And I'm just going to take that and use that to define my outer corners. But the thing is that like the lid shade that I use, it's not really a true pink. It's like a peachy pink color. So for the lid shade, I used the shade Hellfire, which is a beautiful, like, peachy, goldish, pinky shade, and it did work perfectly with this look, but it's not as pink as I thought it was. And for me, I love, like, true pink shimmers to go with, like, pink mattes, but it's okay, because it still looked beautiful, so I just went ahead and used that shade, and it was still gorgeous on the lid, so I just went ahead and used that, and I still thought it was really, really pretty. Okay, and then for my face, I used my MAC Prep and Prime Radiance Primer and my MAC Fix Plus, and then I used my Lancome Teint Idol Ultra Wear Foundation and Concealer, and then I used the Pat McGrath Labs to set underneath my eyes, and then I used the Urban Decay powder on my face, the Stay Naked powder. Okay, and then for the lower lash line, I used the shade Hella again to buff on my lower lash line. I just had a little bit of fallout, so I was just brushing that away. And I just used that on my lower lash line. So I'm just going to take that and buff that out. And I'm just going to take it on the other side. And I thought it was really, really pretty. This shade really shows up really nicely on the lower lash line. It kind of spices up the look a little bit more. I just thought it was really, really pretty. I'm just going to keep on buffing that out. And then I just wanted to wipe my brush off. And then for the inner corners, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I ended up going with the shade Golden Bridge. and I thought it was going to be a little bit too dark for me on the inner corners, but it actually turned out to be really beautiful. It was like a super yellow gold, and I thought that was really pretty. Because the shirt that I was wearing was like my Marilyn Monroe tank top, and it has like gold writing on it that like her signature in gold writing. So I thought that that was perfect to go with it. And then the tank top's kind of like a light pink. So I just thought it looked really, really pretty. And that is pretty much it for the look. And then this is the picture of the final look. Okay, so hey guys, so I forgot to show you guys the final look with my lippy and everything, but I did take a picture of it, so I'm just going to insert a clip of the picture so you guys can see what the final look looks like, because obviously my makeup is off now because I got home like 2 hours ago from seeing my friend. So I just want to tell you guys everything else that I used on my face. So for bronzer, I used the Marc Jacobs Omega bronzer in the shade Tantric. And then for the eyeliner and mascara, I used the Marc Jacobs gel liner in the shade, what was it? Blacker, the black liner. Then I also used the Marc Jacobs Velvet Noir mascara to coat my top lashes, and then of course I used my Maybelline Lash Discovery on my bottom lashes, and then I used the bronzer, and then for blush I actually finally used the new Oden's eye blush that I got, because I haven't been able to use this one yet, and I wanted to use it when I did a pink look with the Hela palette, and this is the Oden's Eye Flower Blusher in the shade Sweet Tulip. And this is what it looks like. It's really, really pretty. It's actually way pinker on my skin than I thought it was going to be, but I thought it was a beautiful color, and it's just so pigmented, and they're so easy to apply. Sorry, I'm dropping this. I'm a little bit tipsy, as you can tell, even though I stopped drinking like 2 hours ago. I'm still like kind of buzzed. And then for the highlighter, I used the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector Pressed in the shade Rose Quartz, and I used that to highlight my face, and it's just such a beautiful highlighter. And then for the lips, I used the ColourPop Lippy Pencil in the shade Good and Plenty. And then for the lipstick, I used the Anastasia Beverly Hills Liquid Lipstick in the shade Catnip. I haven't used this in quite a while, and I wasn't sure like what lipstick I wanted to use today, but then Karen was like, I love your lipstick so much, and I was like, it's so funny because this is like a way older shade that I have, and I haven't worn it in so long, but it's just so funny that people like compliment those types of shades for you. So yeah, those are all the looks that I did with the Oden's Eye and Angelica Nyqvist Hela palette. I am absolutely loving this palette so far. I've used it 4 times at this point, so those are literally the first 4 looks that I've done with this palette. So I've used all of the mattes in here, and I've used quite a bit of the shimmers. I still have a couple to test on my lid, like double-sided, complete, and golden bridge, but I've used the rest of the shimmers, and they are absolutely beautiful. Oden's Eye is amazing. I absolutely love their formula, and I think this palette is beautiful. I knew I was gonna love it. So yeah, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching. So please like and subscribe. Follow me on my Instagram at CBW819 and check out my Poshmark at the same handle. Bye.